Hello guys, I hope everyone is doing well. So in today's video we're looking at EURGBP, GBPUSD and GBPJPY guys, and then as you can see most of the pairs are GBP based and we're just gonna have a great time. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and let's get to it guys now. So the 4-hour time frame is like the time frame that I mostly use whenever I'm analyzing. So the first thing is to look at the overall market structure. So as you can see here, we're creating higher highs and higher lows. If you can just spot them nicely, you'll see that this is your high, your low, then you have your high, then you have your low around here. So about that, let me just push this price action to here. Then after that we had a new high, which is this one. Then we have a higher low right there, which means we are continuing with the overall market structure to take out like the previous high, just because the market is creating higher highs and higher lows, as you can see right there. So around this point we have a nice break of structure, which is this one here. Then after having that break of structure, you can obviously see that if you use like your fib tool from the low to the high, you'll clearly see that the market tapped into that 0.5 level, of which we also had a fair value gap or an imbalance now, however you want to call it, but like we're just gonna leave it at that, just because there's no need for us to look at price action that has already moved now. I'm just making an example of how you can just attack the markets whenever you are analyzing the charts guys. So a new break of structure right here, and then we can just zoom out and just look at what is happening around these areas here. What you can clearly notice is that we have some type of relatively equal lows around this point here. That signifies like liquidity. For those who don't know what I am using here, I'm just using market structure, supply and demand, and liquidity. So at the lows right there, we also have this area here as our area of demand guys, not supply. Sorry about that. So after having that demand zone, it means that on the lower time frame we get to refine that zone so that we can get those sniper entries now. So on the 1 hour time frame, that is where I normally do like my refinements. And then as you can see here, we also had a supply zone around this point here, just like this, and that supply zone was mitigated, as you can see right there. And then there is like some type of a wick right there. We can have like two equal lows, as you can see. This shows that we have liquidity in the market. So the last candle that broke structure, of which it's at the extreme, it's that one. Then now we are just waiting for a candlestick confirmation around here, of which it's not necessarily candlestick confirmation, but like a market structure shift, something like this. So let's say we have that and we change character, then that is when the market will just give you a nice buy to the upside if your analysis are correct. Just because you can just analyze, then the market will just give you another price action whereby it takes out like the previous low. And then if it takes out the previous low, it means that the market is no longer in a bullish trend, it's going into a bearish trend guys. Now so as you can see right here, we have this low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, tapping into that area of demand. So which means what, we expect a change of character to come up around that point right there, just because that was our last previous lower high guys. Now so right there we expect what, for the market to do this, then that is when we get to buy into this market here. So looking at GBPUSD, so GBPUSD was a bad symbol, and I'm just going to show you why I'm saying that it was a bad symbol. So let me just refresh the charts, and then as you can see here, the market was pushing up very nicely, and then the anticipation was obviously for us to look for buys, just because you can see that this is your high, your low, then your high. Then this was a nice demand zone for us to look for buying opportunities, but like that did not happen, as you can see, just because we broke the previous low guys. Now as you can see right here, this was a weak creation. There is no need for you to count for this as a break, rather you extend your line so that you can have a full candle break of that structure. Now so around here we have a break of structure at the top, just like that. Then you have your previous high, of which it was this one here. We were expecting the market to take it out just because we were in a bullish trend. So after that we had a change of character, of which it's this one here. It's not yet confirmed. just because we need a 3 candle pullback, just because the market can be tapping into something maybe on the left right here before pulling to the upside. We don't know that. We're just following what the market is telling us with all the rules that we use. So around this point here, we have equal highs, of which that signifies liquidity whenever you're using the strategy that I'm using, guys. So you have to also zoom out, look at what price action is telling you, and then around this point, we have your overall supply zone, of which it was the last candle that gave us this nice pull to the downside. We can just say this one, but like it's still liquidity at the top. So we're going to use this one. And then at the top of the structure, we also have an imbalance, of which it leads us into having this supply zone, of which it's this one here. So we expect what the market to pull back into areas of interest. And I'm not saying that you cannot buy around this point so that you can take the price action to the top and then maybe look for selling opportunities like this. That is what you can do. That is if you have like the skill to do that. But like for now, I'm just gonna wait and see if we can get like price action pulling back to the upside, just like this, tapping into the first area. Then that is when I'll be looking for a change in trend so that I can start looking for those sells. And if this area here does not like get mitigated in a correct manner, or in a manner whereby I would like to get involved in the markets, then I'll be waiting for the last area, which is that one at the top. So those are the two areas that I'm having. So GBPJPY, of which that is our last pair, and I want to update you guys on something before we end this video here. So around here we have structure. The market is pushing to the upside, of which that is very nice. So now our thought process is very simple, just because we know that this high is taken out and the market has given us a new high, of which it's this one here, and this does not count as a break of structure just because it was not a candle break. Sorry about that. It was not a full candle break, as you can see right there. It was just a weak creation, which means what? It was just a surge of liquidity or a liquidity sweep, something like that. So as you can see right here, we have our structure, we have our high, then we have our low. Then we know that we have an overall trading range that we can work on. So around here, this is our last area that gave us this break of structure. So this is the demand zone right here, and we also had imbalance, of which it was already filled by this price action here. So looking at the lows, we just have to look at the lows, or we can switch over to the 4-hour time frame or the 1 hour so that we can refine everything. And then if we refine, that is when you get those pinpoint entries, guys, or the sniper entries. So you refine it to this one, knowing that we have an imbalance right here, and we can just say IMB right there, guys. So looking at the lows, you just have to zoom out also, just to figure out where price action is going. And zooming out, you can obviously see that this area here is a nice demand zone that you can also use, or you can just use that small candle. It's still okay, just like that, or you can just cater for everything that's going on around this price leg right there. As you can see right there, and this is your overall demand zone that you can use. And then try and zoom out and see if like there is like an area that you can use right there. So the thought process is very simple, just because we already know what we are looking for. And for now, what I'll be waiting for is a change in trend, just because we just tapped into this area of a demand, or we can switch over to the 15-minute, but like there's no need for us to go a like low on the time frames, just because if you go too low on the time frames, then that is when you're going to make mistakes or maybe not get tapped into some trades. So let me just extend this thing here. So as you can see, it's still the same zone, it's just here. So back to the 1 hour. So on the hour, as you can see, we refined it to this zone here, and the market has already tapped into it. So which means that we have to wait for the market to take out that high right there before we can get involved in any trade on GBPJPY, guys. And yeah, before we close off the video, I just wanted to update you guys that I'll be dropping more content on this channel here, whereby I'll be teaching you how to trade price action for those who love trend lines and for those who love SMC. But like, I'm trying to focus like on one thing, of which it's the thing that I am using, SMC. Whenever I am doing any trading activity, means that I'll be doing it using SMC. And guys, this is just educational purposes. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just showing you what I do in the markets, what I'll be looking for this week here. So yeah, I'll see you on another video. Peace and love.